Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit of the WoW podcast, Blue Please, on CynicalBrit.com. This is a shorter video today. I've got friends over for the weekend, so my time is a little bit limited, but I would like to keep the videos coming. So, I was knocking around in Silithus for a while, and I noticed on the map that Uldum had appeared as a zone. Now, I'd heard that Uldum is completely closed and there's no way into it, but I wondered, with a flying mount, how close I could get so that we could have a little bit of a look at it. As it stands, we're flying very close to Anchorage right now. Don't want to get too close because the Anchorage zone is actually no-fly right now. If you try to enter with a flying mount, you will fall off and, of course, die. However, you can get a reasonable look at Uldum from here, and the next 10 minutes I'm going to tell you a little bit about the lore of Uldum as I understand it from my research, and show you as much as I can from the invisible wall that blocks you from this area. View distance is currently on maximum. This is as much as you can get in Cataclysm right now, which is a little bit disappointing, but it's not too bad. You're going to see that we're going to run into an invisible wall right there that we cannot move past. This entire zone is surrounded by it on 3 sides, and the 4th side is covered quite nicely by the fact that Anchorage is there and is a no-fly zone. So we'll fly along here, and I can tell you a little bit about Uldum. So, Uldum is an Egyptian-themed zone, and it sounds a little bit like Uldaman and Ulduar, and there's a reason for that. It's one of the Titan zones. So, Uldaman had a bunch of Titan stuff in it. Ulduar was, of course, based around Titans, so you'll hopefully know a little bit about the lore of that area. So, Uldum is an area that was designed to be a research point for the Titans. And the whole idea of it was they were using it to enhance their knowledge and experience when dealing with the biosphere of Azeroth. So they were trying to make the planet better. Like a big laboratory, supposedly. Now, as to why we couldn't see it before, the explanation is somewhat suspect, I must say. Apparently, there was a Titan cloaking device. No, I'm deadly serious. There was a Titan cloaking device. So, Bran Bronzebeard had been looking for this bloody thing. He seems to be a big fan of the whole Titan stuff. He went to Uldaman, then he went to Ulduar, and now apparently he is going to Uldum. Now, he firstly assumed that Uldum was just another name for the Caverns of Time, but as it turns out, he finds out otherwise. However, the excuse for not being able to see it is there was a Titan cloaking device, and the Cataclysm damages the device and unveils Uldum itself. And see, we're on the border of the Ungoro crater, and what I'm trying to do is get as close as possible to those floating towers there. They go by the name of the Skywall. The Skywall is where one of the big elemental guys, Alakia, chills out. He likes to fly, and he likes to remain on Cloud 9, so he's got some floating towers in the clouds. So this makes up the Skywall, and the Skywall has both a level 82 dungeon, which is supposed to be called Vortex Pinnacle, that's a 5-man, and it also has the Throne of the Four Winds, which is an 85 plus 10 to 25 raid zone, which is mostly based around elementals and djinn and genies and things like that. So very Egyptian. This is as high as we can get, and this is as close. It's actually quite a nice view. We can get pretty damn close to that. Very impressive cloud effects, way beyond what we've seen before. Good particles across the board. Stop complaining. Ugh. Lazy flying mount. Now, I would just like to point out the obvious, simply because some people are going to complain regardless. This area is unfinished, and that is why it is locked off. That means that the borders are unfinished. You can see stretched and incomplete textures all over the place. Please don't say, oh, Blizzard are being lazy. No, it is a beta, ladies and gentlemen. It is. I'm sorry to have to sound so condescending, but some people don't seem to figure out that none of this is actually final. Now, you might see that statue over there to the right. You might wonder exactly what it is. Well, I can tell you, it is, in fact, a statue of the stone cat people, Tolvir. They are a race that has not been seen thus far, and will be appearing in Cataclysm. They're very Sphinxian, as you might imagine. Now, as I fall to my death, maybe, because a lot of this area is also a no-fly zone. Wow, I've learned how to blink. I am the best mage. The Tolvir look a little bit like Obsidian Destroyers, you might think. You'll have seen those in Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, and you'll also have seen them inside of Anchorage. Now, why do they look like obsidian destroyers, Totalbiscuit? Well, it's quite simple, really. There used to be another group of Tolvir in Northrend, but they ended up having a bash with the Nerubians and lost. So the Nerubians turned them into the obsidian destroyers. It's most likely that there are Tolvir that still exist inside Uldum that have been shrouded from the rest of the world, and they've got something to do with Alakia and the Elementals. There is indeed a dungeon by the name of the Lost City of Tolvir, which is going to be a 5-man. I believe that's around level 84-ish. It's not available in the beta yet, but I will try and get around, along with, of course, Stonecore, once I hit level 83, to showing you that once it's available. A lot of what we know about Uldum is from a quest called the Stone Watcher, and specifically it was a person called the Stone Watcher of Norganon. He wasn't really a person per se, he was sort of made of rocks as I recall, but you could give him an item called the Plates of Uldum, and he would give you some information. Now, what I can tell you is what's inside Uldum according to this bloke. He says, Uldum is a research facility for the creators in their continuing efforts to enhance the biosphere of Azeroth. Yes, their continuing efforts after, they tried to blow it up back in Ulduar. Specific information regarding their work as it relates to Uldum is restricted to those individuals who possess the Plates of Uldum in their disc sets. Yes, indeed. This is one of the entrances. There are several. You can access this zone from the sea, and we will attempt to do that, and of course fail. But you do get a nice close-in view right there of the Tolvir statue. Obviously, this area is blatantly incomplete, and the texture work is far, far shabbier than we can expect to see in the final version. Now, that didn't look too much like the old gate, and that's because it's not. That is an entrance via the Thistle Shrub Valley in Tanaris. That is not the only gate. There are more. There are a couple of ways into Uldum via gates, and then there is an entrance via the sea that you can fly into. Although, obviously, we're going to encounter some fairly stiff resistance in terms of the way that the terrain has been modelled to stop you from doing that at this point in time. You'll note here one of two pyramids. This one is intact, and there's another ruined pyramid over sort of to the right. There's the gate. You can see it down there. This is supposedly an entrance to the zone. We'll fly over it, and you will note, of course, that we cannot get through, but I will show it to you regardless. You will also notice off to the left there that there is a coastline and various archipelago created by the Cataclysm. Bit of untextured there, but it's nice because we can get quite close. Now, one of those pyramids is most likely the Halls of Origination, and we can't really see the full texture work from here, which is a little bit unfortunate. But what you will note from one of the screenshots that Blizzard themselves put out is that one of those temples, those pyramids, are... well, they're very much like Protoss, and honestly, there's been a lot of speculation about the crossover between the StarCraft and Warcraft universes for a while, but that's more about cross-pollination and inspiration in terms of art style than anything else, in my opinion. So, would you like to see what's inside the old Uldum Gate? Well, let's find out, shall we? Regardless of the fact that that invisible wall is blocking off the stuff over there, in fact, the entrance to the Oldham Zone is not straight ahead, it's on the right. So we can make our way in here and check out what's going on, and it's quite an impressive area. Now, bear in mind that this is a Titan research laboratory, and apparently it houses some kind of Titan superweapon, so if you thought that nonsense with Algalon was over, then maybe not. Another great chance to wipe out Azeroth and all of the idiots that are on it. Glorious. You like the hieroglyphics on the floor, blatant Egyptian references all over the place. I do wonder what some of them mean. Liking the lighting effects on here, it's very nice. Good shine. And something of a cartouche on the ceiling of this area. You'll note that we have a bunch of neutral earthen just hanging around here. Sandstone earthen specifically. Now this, as far as I can tell, is the entrance to the Oldham Zone. A large Titan-style gate. Can we get there? No, we cannot. That is where the invisible block is. And just to make matters worse, they've got those stompy things. Why are they even there, one has to wonder. Nice nonetheless. Let's check out the rest of the alcoves and see if there's anything there. I'm looking forward to this zone the most, honestly, just because I really like Egyptian architecture, and I like the Titan stuff. Some people object to the whole idea of, oh, technology, how terrible, but it's fairly common in a lot of the more modern fantasies to have ancient races with very modern-esque technology. I like that a lot. It's a good theme, and we'll see what they make of it. Now, handily enough, we are technically inside the Oldham Zone, which means we can have a look at the map. This is not all that detailed, I'm afraid, and there are no zone descriptions at all. We can see the pyramid there, and a few of the areas in minor detail. Now, after much mucking about, I was able to get to the harbour area of Oldham so that I can give you some look at it. The invisible wall is not quite as far away here, so you can get a good look without having to worry about view distance. However, Blizzard being the tricksy sorts that they are, decided to put a fatigue bar above it, so our time here is somewhat limited. We'll use it as best we can to have a look at the harbour area, the various obelisks there. It's nice. I'd like to chill out there and maybe do some fishing. However, we're not going to be able to do that today. Our time is limited and we're going to be drowning very soon, so let's get as high as we possibly can before that happens. You can see there's no way around the other side of Uldum. It's entirely blocked off by, well, 1, invisible walls, and 2, fatigue, which is not too helpful on either front. So that's all that you can see currently in the beta from Uldum. This zone is by no means finished, so bear that in mind. And I'm looking forward to trying it out when it becomes open to the beta testing public. My name's been Totalbiscuit, and this has been a sneak peek from the sidelines at the new Oldham Zone. I'll see you next time.